Now, most governments around the world have temporarily closed educational institutions in an attempt to contain the spread of COVID-19. These nationwide closures are impacting almost 70% of the world's student population, according to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. It has been around 2 months since schools closed here in Ghana. Of course, when it comes to reopening schools, the tempo is far more uncertain. According to UNESCO data, 100 countries have not yet announced a date for schools to reopen. 65 have plans for partial or full reopening, while 32 will end the academic year online. For 890 million students, however, the school calendar has never been so undefined. When and how to reopen in schools is one of the toughest and most sensitive decisions on political agendas today. Is it safe to reopen schools, or is there a risk of reigniting infections? What are the consequences to children's mental health and to the social development of young children? The decision is complex because the pandemic continues to evolve and not in linear manner. And that's why we took an interest in a directive we cited from the Ghana Education Service asking for inputs from key stakeholders in educational strategies to adopt to ensure that we can smoothly reopen schools while ensuring the maximum security and safety of all. According to the GS, it is putting together its plans for reopening schools in the event that the ban on schools is lifted by the president. So let's explore the possible strategies the country could adopt in our next conversation with our guest. In studio is Mr. Thomas Musa, his General Secretary of GNAT, the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Also joining us is Mr. Peter Anti, who is Executive Director, Institute for Educational Studies. Hi there, Peter. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, great. Mr. Musa, thank you for your time, for being here.
Thank you.
According to this directive that we've cited, the deadline is tomorrow. So what are you generally looking at in terms of reopening the strategies to adopt?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers and all the people around the world, teachers in particular, for the hard work and supporting almost every move of the government to get educational objectives achieved. Now, to the substantive issue before us this morning, it must be placed on record that the teacher unions, that is the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Concerned Teachers Ghana, we've all been together with TEU. We've all been together in ensuring that we get the best out of the situation that we found ourselves. Now, one of the key things, in fact, we should not be here this morning discussing this particular issue. The reason why this thing has come out is because this particular letter has come out, and which is creating fear and panic among the rank and file of our members.
What's the exact fear?
You see, currently, the figures we have is 5,735, and we've recorded 29 deaths. 29 deaths. And when people are looking at these particular figures and they see all that is happening, certainly it will create fear and panic among them. Because the question is, how do we go to school? Let me explain the school setting for us to understand. You see, we are talking about a situation where a class of 70 school children, and the teacher will go and teach them. And when a teacher is going to school, the teacher will board trotro before going to the school. And you have 70 children in a particular class coming from all walks of life to that particular classroom. The question is this: do we know the status of all the teachers who will be going to the school? Have they been tested? The children, have they all been tested? Do we know their state before they are going to the school? These are fundamental issues that we should all establish. Look, if we don't do that, and we start talking about reopening at this particular moment, then the question is, why wouldn't we wait for the president to come and speak? Then we take it out from there.
Okay, so if I understand you, and you're expressing the fears from members after citing the directive.
Exactly.
But my understanding of this is to explore the various strategies, just in case the president comes in his next address to say, he's given a date for schools to reopen. Don't we have to explore what's the danger in that?
See, currently, schools or the educational institution is not the only place where it has been closed down. We have bars and all that sporting activities. Have you heard any of them talking about, let us put something like this in place so that when they, have you seen anything from any of the sectors that have been closed down?
So you disagree with this directive from the GS,
exactly.
that this shouldn't even come up for discussion?
Something like this, so you know the situation. Something like this, you could have called people, let us look at it. But to issue a letter like this, anticipating that because there is an extension up to the 31st of May, should the president lift up the ban? You see, this creates the impression in the minds of people that all things being equal, by the 31st of May, the ban will be lifted. You see, will be lifted. And when that happens, people are now beginning to ask, how will the system be like? And I've already explained to you. I saw an advert flying on Joy FM. When I entered, I even commended you on that. Look, Ghanaians by nature, we are face-touching people. But we are being told that one of the safety protocols of this COVID-19 has to do with the fact that don't touch your face, don't touch your nose and all that. Can you imagine KG children? Okay, you let me put the KG children aside. Look, those who will be writing the BECE, by the 2020 budget, we are talking about 397,500 of them. The candidates alone. When you look at the WASI also, if you look at the 2018 budget, we are talking about 357,000, or let me say 358,000. These are the students. So these are students that if you bring them together, the question is, have you tested all of them? Because they all went home.
So your point exactly is what?
The point is that we have not put in place the necessary safety precautions to ensure that school reopens. We don't have the Veronica buckets there. We don't have the soap and running water in all the various institutions. The PPPs. Look, recently when we met at the tripartite committee meeting, it was agreed that government should provide, or the employer should provide, the nose masks to every teacher or all the workers in Ghana. Has that been done? These are issues that ought to be provided first. And then when all the safety, when all these PPEs are provided, then we can start talking about the next level or the next line of action.
Let me bring Peter in at this point. Peter, is there anything wrong with this directive from the Ghana Education Service?
My good friend Musa, I'm short of words. You see, we cannot continue to live like this, and we all don't know when this virus is going to be eradicated. Experts have said that it's going to be with us for a long time. So if the managers of our education system comes out to tell various stakeholders, and of course I have to put on record that we have been a strong advocate for this particular move, that the ministry should start engagement as early as possible to avoid what we call surprises, when that they will just come out one day and say that, oh, schools are going to reopen, this and this is what we're going to do, without the requisite kind of consultation that we have always spoke for. Now, the ministry is saying that these relevant stakeholders, what are the various measures and modes that you think we can institute, we can put together, so that in the event that we would want to reopen schools, we will be able to put these things together and ensure the safety and the well-being of our students and teachers. GNAT is saying they don't understand. I'm lost. I don't know.
Okay, so let him. He wants to clarify.
Please get me right. I did not say that GNAT is saying that they don't understand. You have clearly stated that the measures to put in place, and I've mentioned the issue of the Veronica bucket, getting the water with soda soap and all those things to be provided. The issue of the PPEs, with the nose masks and all that. And aside that particular one, take a class of 70. Take a class of 70, let's say class 3, a class of 70 with one teacher. How would that be done? These are issues that should have started first.
So let me ask you, Mr. Musa. So you're asking that there should be provision. So the GES should be telling teachers what they have done to protect teachers and students before they ask for your opinion in terms of what should be done in terms of strategies in reopening. Are you clear in your mind, Peter, his clarification?
That is what we have been talking against, that we do not want the managers of our economy, of our education, to push things down the throat of relevant stakeholders.
But
so we have always been advocating for a bottom-up approach.
Okay, but
now, I don't think that the ministry do not have a strategy. I think the ministry would have a strategy. But then they are soliciting views from relevant stakeholders. How do we go about this? And this morning, I'm going to share with you the possible ways that we can go about this. And
okay,
I think that is what we have to do.
But let's just go back a little bit. Is it not legitimate to know, first of all, what, as the regulators, what they are thinking before you ask for, because you're asking me to come to work, what are you putting in place for my safety? And then I can share, yes. Is there anything wrong in that?
There's nothing wrong with that, but then the point is that we are soliciting, I think the ministry is soliciting views from relevant stakeholders, and together come out with a very concrete means by which, in case they reopen schools, everybody will feel safe. I don't think this is something that is so strange that anybody should be so worried about. If it happened that the ministry comes out one day and says that this is what we are... Hello?
Yes, Peter, apologies there for that little disruption, but go on, we can hear you.
If it happens that the ministry comes out one day and say that this and this and this are what we have put in place, we are reopening schools at this time, I hope that the teacher unions will be very, very unhappy, and they will come out forcefully to state that they were not involved in any form of consultation, which we have also been stating, that the managers of our economy of our education should continuously engage the relevant stakeholders. So looking at this letter and listening to the rep, I'm a little bit lost, because I was thinking that the union should take advantage of this and provide concrete measures that can be put in place. For example, for all the things that he's talking about, the Veronica buckets and all those things that he's talking about, these are things that you would want to suggest in a document form to the ministry, so that when they reopen schools and these things are not happening, you would note that, yeah, we said this, you are not doing this, and because of that, you are doing A, B, C, and D. But you don't tell them that they should tell you what they are planning.
Peter, to be fair, this is a health issue. We have people who have the expertise in dealing. That's why we look up to the World Health Organization, for instance, for directions. There's strictly the Ministry of Health that's in charge. Teachers can't make better suggestions than the committee, for instance, that has been put in charge of this whole management of this pandemic.
I beg to differ. I think teachers stay.
Okay,
with the students. So teachers stay
Peter, you have to start from the beginning, because we lost the sound.
Okay, I beg to differ. What I'm saying is that I think teachers stay in the classroom. They know how to manage the students. They know the school environmental situations. They know the conditions that they teach in. And they are the best people to tell the managers of our education how, in their view, they think they can implement to ensure that the various safety measures that have been established by the health professionals can also be brought into the school system, and ensure that in the case that the schools are reopened, they would the safety of both the teachers and the students would be. And I have to make this point. We are not the only country.
Let's carry the conversation forward. Let's carry the conversation forward, because you said there are some strategies that you wanted to share with us. I don't want us to spend all the time on this particular point.
Yes. So the first point, and I agree with Musa, that the class sizes are huge. How do you navigate around this? Very, very large class sizes, and then we don't have you don't have enough infrastructure. And then apart from that, the teachers are not that enough to be able to, let's say, if you want to do any kind of move, you'll be able to do that. So these are three things. If you look at the pre-tertiary education, these are three things that any policy that will seek to reopen school should seek to address. One, the large number of classes. Two, the inadequacy of our infrastructure. And then three, the number of teachers that we have. So one, in terms of large number of classes, what do you think we can do? And I have to make this point that we are not the only country that is seeking to solicit views in order that schools will be open. I have to put on record that UNESCO have already issued a paper on this, that if in the instance that countries would want to reopen their schools, there are measures that they should take into consideration. So the first thing we have to look at is to look at how do we divide the classes? Can we run a shift system? Can we make use of open spaces like the football field? Maybe schools that are closer to chapels, can we use that? These are things that we should be thinking about. If we are running the shift system, how are we going to do it? Are we going to divide the school into two? Make sure that the classes are in such a way that the students will have enough spacing, that we observe the relevant protocols. Students will have enough spaces. Can we supply teachers with all the needed health equipment in terms of the nose masks, the hand sanitizers? Can we provide the schools with the relevant Veronica buckets that they need? Some of the schools do not have good source of water. What are we going to do about that? Apart from that, can we also ensure that schools do not do morning assembly? They do not do sports. They do not do worship as we do in our schools. So that for now, till the time that we are sure that the virus has been contained or the vaccine has been found, these things would be cancelled out of our schools.
Okay.
These are things that we should be proposing to our managers of education, so that in the event that we open the school, we will be tracking that how are these things going to be provided for our schools.
All right. So, Mr. Musa, what's the way forward? The deadline, as I read the what has been issued, says Tuesday. So what are you proposing? Are you staying silent, or you at least saying something back to the Ghana Education Service?
A quick one. Before we started, I indicated that we are here because this letter has gone viral. So we needed to respond. Number two, it's also disturbing. Now they're saying that...
So, if I had not gone viral, you wouldn't have responded? Or as in come in public?
No, we would have done it.
Okay, sure.
We would have done it. And it's also disturbing saying that when you ask him whether the health officers are not the best people to... And he's saying that he begs to differ. So does it mean that at this particular point in time, the health people, those who have been trained with the special knowledge and understanding to handle the issue at this particular time, they are no more needed? Is that what he's saying?
So, Mr. Musa, I get it. There are people with expertise, but at least they're asking you to also make some proposals. What's wrong with that?
No, exactly. I told you that GNAT, NAGRAT, and CCT together with TEU, we are going to put our documents together and get to the Ghana Education Service. I indicated that. So we need to make some corrections here. That to say that the health people, we are the best people to make that decision, we also we beg to differ. Because we believe that the health people, they are the people managing it. And we have all been told that this thing the science must guide us in taking decisions. So at this particular time, in the decision that we want to take, we cannot move forward without the input of our health workers.
So you want to move forward knowing the science as has been told us several times.
Exactly. And we have also, in fact, all the things he indicated, like the Veronica bucket, running water, soap, the classroom side, those were the things I raised, and he has ended up repeating the same thing.
Okay, I think it wasn't clear in terms of your response to the Ghana Education Service. I think we didn't talk about that. I guess that's why we are here. Yeah. So have you responded, or you're still in the process?
No, the teacher unions will meet. I've told you that. This is a matter that affects all teachers.
Yeah, but there's a deadline to the directive, isn't there?
That's tomorrow. Yes, we'll get back to them.
Okay,
because it was last week, and I traveled outside, and when I came, I came to meet the later. So we'll certainly get back to them. We have our own social dialogue system. Matters like this, we know how to discuss it. So we'll get back to them.
But you understand that the schools cannot be closed down forever.
Oh,
we can't be closed forever. We have to reopen.
Please, nobody has said that. You see, no teacher has said that the school should be closed down forever. No. When we will never say that. No teacher union, the unions will never say that, the teachers will not say that. The only thing that we are saying is that let us put the safety measures in place so that our children, our wives, our husbands will be safe. That is what we are asking for.
Okay.
That is all we are asking for. So all the protocols that can be put in place to ensure that each and everyone is safe must be done.
So you're contributing not with scientific knowledge, but you're going to say at least what you think in terms of a proposal forwarding to the Ghana Education Service.
We'll put some document together and let them have it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Peter, it's clear now, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't want to drag this issue, so I think that the teacher union should do well to present their concerns to the ministry as they have requested for the Ghana Education Service.
But Peter, just a real quick one. If you look at the tone of the letter, saying that if the president comes to lift the restrictions on the closure of schools, then they can resume. How soon could that be? I was thinking that we need a long vacation to plan for the next stage. We need at least some 2 months so that we can start a fresh academic calendar living with COVID-19. What do you think? Okay, I think there's a freeze there, but maybe Mr. Musa, real quick, you can comment on this. Because we're just entering into the period where we go for the long vacation.
Exactly. Yes. As it stands now, the Ghana Education Service deployed at least some kind of e-learning, okay, the virtual learning where they are reaching out to the students among others. The only challenge has to do with our brothers and our younger brothers and sisters who are in deprived areas. So their issues have come up. So the question is, how do we mitigate their situation? How do we reach out to them so that they will not be disadvantaged as a result of the COVID? Because if you're not able to do that, there is the high probability of increasing the issue of child labor. Because the people who stay in those areas, the moment education or the schools are closed down and the teachers are not there, the only option they have is for them to go back to the issues of child labor. And so everything must be done to ensure that to our brothers and sisters in deprived areas, giving opportunity to also have.
Were you consulted on how we should go about the e-learning as an association?
No. We were not consulted. We were not consulted.
So this was strictly a GES initiative, and then they went ahead.
Yes, we were not even invited.
Okay. All right, Peter. I don't know if you got the question that I asked you.
Hello.
Invited.
Yes, Peter. Did you get the question about a long vacation so we can plan for a fresh academic calendar?
Yes, I think that would have been the best thing to do. But you see, we have a very strict academic calendar that we run that starts from the basic level and develops up to the tertiary institution. So if we are not careful, as we have stated already, if we are not careful, the academic calendar is already distorted, but it will be worse further. And that is what I think the Ghana Education Service want to avoid, because the tertiary institutions would need students the graduating students to be able to continue whatever plans that they also have. So there's been enough break, and I think that this thing should have even started long ago, the consultative process, because we knew that definitely there will be a time for schools to reopen. So I was thinking that this thing would have been started a long time before maybe we get to this time.
All right, Peter, let's see what the stakeholders present to the GS, and we can have conversations on the various strategies that is proposed. Peter Arenti is Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies. Mr. Thomas Musa is the General Secretary of GNAT. We'll see what you forward, and then, we can analyze what you present to the Ghana Education Service. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. Now, your convenience and safety means a lot to us. Easy does it. Read all the news at home. No need to leave your home or office when the news is available to you on the go. Get on your device now and download Graphic News Plus from Google Play Store or App Store. Buy your e-copies of Daily Graphic, The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic, Graphic Sports, as well as videos, free news, and so much more. That's the plus for you. You further enjoy 10% discounts on monthly subscription, 15% for 3 months subscription, and 20% discount for 6 months and beyond. Graphic News Plus, connecting people through news.